Good morning and welcome to Market Opening on our collab show between Business Today and India Today TV. It's just after 9. We're here to get you all the market opening action. Let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and financial world this morning. Microsoft has an early Christmas gift for India, pledges to invest $17.5 billion in the country over the next 4 years. CEO Satya Nadella made the announcement after meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday. Announcement is just 2 months after Google pledged $15 billion for data centers in Andhra. Airfares set to rise in the coming days, with IndiGo asked to cut nearly 220 flights from its daily schedule. Penalty for the recent chaos to last till March. Government makes it clear that the cancellations will apply to high-frequency domestic routes and not to the roughly 600 routes where IndiGo is the sole operator. Reports say IndiGo could also face a CCI probe for abuse of market dominance. US stock futures steady ahead of the Fed decision, with investors eyeing a likely third straight rate cut. Asia opens in the red, gold rises ahead of the policy move, silver inches towards the $62 per ounce milestone. There's uncertainty around the US H-1B and H-4 visa again, with thousands of applicants facing disruptions. Visa interviews deferred by several months as new social media screening rules kick in. Even those who are temporarily in India and need stamping by the embassy to return to the US face major delays. E-commerce platform Meesho set for stock market debut today. Analysts predict listing gains of around 30%. 2 more main board companies, Equus and Vidya Wires, are also to be listed. All 3 IPOs saw strong subscriptions. Okay, we're joined by my colleague Shailendra Bhatnagar as well, Chief Analyst in Digital Markets. Let's take a look at the overnight setup. Flat at the moment, no major move at this point of time, awaiting the Fed's commentary and that likely third rate cut coming in. Let's take a look at Asia this morning, as well as, of course, the tech action. Again, pretty quiet this time around and a little mixed, actually, with Meta down and Alphabet seeing gains of about 1% or so. Let's take a look at Asia this morning and pull that up for you as well, just to see how we're trending ahead of trade. And then on the Nifty itself, just a marginal uptick in pre-open, but we have been trending sideways and seeing a little bit of pressure coming in on the index over the last week, 10 days now. So that seems like it's set to continue. Shell, good morning. Let me get a look at the setup with you. This morning, it looks like while commodities continue to be on fire, the index is still flat, trending at 25,864.
Abha, good morning to you, first of all, and to everyone who's watching us. Bang in the middle of the week as far as Wednesday is concerned. So some sanity on the long side prevailing at 25,800, where the bulls have made a very strong stand. Lots of reversal candles on the long side coming on private banking setup, on the PSU banking setup, defense, digital, which essentially means that after yesterday's low was hit, many of these indices and many of these stocks closed sharply higher, which essentially means that demand is coming into these stocks. So watch out for PSU banks, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, SBI. Watch out for National Aluminium, Hind Copper. Watch out for Axis Bank, Policy Bazaar, Bandhan Bank. These are the stocks in the financial services space and the PSU banking space which are providing strength to the market at this level. So sanity back on Dalal Street on the long side, Abha.
Okay. So looking better is really what Shell is saying. Sharad also joining us, Sharad Avasthi, Head of Research at PCG SMIFS. Sharad, good morning. Do you feel as well that some stability is returning to the markets after the kind of heavy selling pressure we've been seeing the last few days?
Yeah, good morning. Certainly, I think some sanity would return. I think it's normal that after having this kind of upside, we are seeing a moderate correction. Globally, I think the flip-flop with respect to tariffs continues, so that's causing a bit of nervousness. But other than that, if you look at most of the domestic cues, I think they are very positive, whether it's quarterly numbers, capital expenditure, government expenditure, civil infra ordering. I think all that is going to go through a very strong uptick over the next 3 to 6 months, even consumption. So I think the mood is very buoyant, and I think even the RBI relaxation of MSME and NBFCs, particularly NBFCs, should also start reflecting in the numbers on the economy. So barring the uncertainty on geopolitics and particularly tariffs with respect to US, I think the rest of it is pretty okay. And when you look at shrimps, I think the way it has bounced back in spite of the US tariffs, finding new markets in such a short span of time, I think the rest of the businesses will also be able to do it with a marginal hit. So I'm not very worried with tariff, and I think it's something that you cannot really project as to how it will shape up. But other than that, most of the indicators seem to suggest that we should be in a very strong footing over the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. All right, few brokerage reports just before we kick off market opening. Morgan Stanley on internet companies saying that funding remains weak on a TTM basis, levels normalizing after the October spike. So fintech, e-commerce, logistics, this is where we saw most of the funding activity. And of these, Eternal remains attractive due to Blinkit's strong market share. So that's what Morgan Stanley is saying on internet companies. On Interglobe, they're still overweight. In fact, those brokerage views on IndiGo don't really seem to be jaded at all on account of the lapse that we've seen this last week. They are saying that operations have stabilized, performance is returning to normal levels, and daily departures have improved significantly. Jefferies on steel saying that the recent drop in Asian and Indian steel prices will drag margins. They do remain positive on companies as Asian spreads are near a 15-year low and should recover. Reinstatement of safeguard duty should further lift domestic prices. So they remain positive with buy calls on both JSW and Tata Steel. So that's Jefferies coming in for you this morning. Lots of other stocks in news as well, and we'll talk you through those, of course, once markets open and see whether or not we're seeing any reactions coming in. But for example, we've got a lot of order wins coming in. IRB Infra is seeing some strong revenue, 16% up on revenue. We're seeing highway infrastructure also bagging contracts of close to 330 crores. So some of these could attract some amount of traction. Godrej is looking to invest over 100 billion in Telangana. So that's a big announcement from them coming in as well. So keep an eye on some of these infra names, banks, metals in action today, and of course some of the other newsmakers that we'll talk you through as we go along. Okay, opening ticks for you on your screen. Let's pull these up for you. Nifty is just about 0.1% in the green, 25,848. But we have opened in the green. Let's take some heart from that. Let's pull up some of the gainers and losers. The Nifty Bank also just a marginal uptick coming in there for you. And there you have it. Grasim up about 1%. Sun Pharma, TCS, so a mixed bag on the gainers list this morning. Cement, Pharma, Adani Enterprises, Asian Paints, TCS, some of the other names there bringing up the gainers list this morning. Perhaps it is buying at lower levels because these are some of the laggards, in the last few months. On the downside, JSW is actually seeing a bit of correction this morning. Same with an SBI Life, HDFC Life. So some of these are actually continuing to see some profit booking. Same with the Bharti Airtel, Titan, Tata Consumer. And the advanced decline ratio is still skewed towards the declines, even though the Nifty is just about managing to hang on. Okay, just as I speak, slipping into the red. Shell.
Abha, I think it's a sensible start. We are just sort of getting out of the nervousness that we saw the index correct from 26,300 all the way down to 28,750. Banks undoubtedly are the horses on which IT is also doing well. Therefore, Nifty stabilizing around 25,850. IndiGo down 1%. Let me just mark what is painful. Let's look at top gainers in NSE 500. JSW Energy, AU Bank, Hindustan Zinc. Remember the baskets I'm talking about, private sector banks plus metals. These are looking good from the telecoms, from the PSU space on the telecom side, ITI Limited. And of course, from the tire side, you have JK Tires 1.1% higher. So amongst most actives, it's a nice shade of green. Let's look at how the first 15-minute window pans out. Reliance in the green, HDFC Bank in the green, ICICI Bank in the green. I won't be worried about the Nifty on the long side after the first day of the weekly expiry sets in Abha. So all good.
Okay. Reassuring. Let's pull up AU Small Finance Bank. They've gotten an approval from the Finance Ministry to increase foreign investment limit from 49% to 74%. That's what's driving that counter. Let's get Sharad in on this. Sharad, that's a good fillip for AU Small Finance, 2.5% up this morning.
Yeah, certainly a good development for them, even in the small finance bank or the smaller lending, microfinance and MSME space, they were doing a very good business. My only issue is with respect to the valuation at which they trade. So I think there's not much left on the table. Now, how this new business venture pans out over the next, say, 1.5, 2 years is something that we need to see. But certainly they have been credible in the way they have carried on the business till now. But I think the price to book multiples that they're getting is at a premium. So to find fundamentally to find more upside from current levels would be a bit difficult. But I think certainly a positive development. I think, but it will need time to show up in the numbers, over the next 1.5, 2 years.
Okay. Swiggy's QIP is open. Floor price is at 390.5 per share. Swiggy is also up a little over % right now. Let's pull that one up for you. Sharad, I don't know if you have a view on Swiggy, because I know some of our experts, stay cautious on the new age companies. But the fact that it's continued to need further fundraising, it's got mixed reviews coming in the market, whereas some brokerage houses, of course, preferring Eternal, but others still riding very bullish on Swiggy, saying that it will deliver.
Yeah, I'm also in the camp that believes that maybe, if you want to bet on Eternal or Swiggy, the valuation comfort is more in case of Swiggy. Traditional valuation metrics, yeah, obviously you can look at, because Eternal has turned profitable, etc. At the bottom line level, Swiggy is yet to deliver on those numbers. So I think that is something that causes a bit of nervousness. But these are businesses of scale. I think any business that runs like this, you have that risk that maybe the technology requirements exceed your incomes in the long term. But I think with the Swiggy, the kind of dark store additions that they've done, etc., and how it plays out and how the faster delivery market is playing out, it should be very positive for them. And within the both, I think valuation comfort wise, I would continue to bet on Swiggy rather than Eternal at these valuations.
Okay, then we've got JSW Energy's board meet Friday to mull raising funds via equity. JSW Energy is up about 3%. Let's pull up JSW for you as well, and we'll get Sharad in on this. Clearly it's a segment that is attractive at this point of time. The stock is up 3.5% on the news. Sharad, a view from you on JSW Energy.
I think, again, this is one story which could have very good legs, to move up in the long term. I think the type of expansion that they're putting up over the next 3 to 4 years, that could be very attractive. But if you look at current valuations, I think not much is left on the table again. So, what we are trying to focus right now is stories that could deliver numbers over the next 1.5 years. And JSW, while might be an excellent story if you want to hold for 4 to 5 years from here on. But 1.5, 2 years, I think it will be difficult to make money from these valuations, because most of the projects are long gestation. So they will take time to come on board. But once that starts coming in and showing up in the numbers and the cash flows, I think then it's a very positive development. But 1.5 to 2 years, I think it will be difficult to make money from these valuations.
Okay, let's pull up Adani Green. They've got a block deal happening on that one. Total Energies to sell 2,400 crore rupees worth of shares today. That's the report coming in. Adani Green is up about 2% or 1.5%, as you can see on your screen, on the back of that block deal that's anticipated. All right, Shell, let me come to you on what else you're spotting in the markets at 9:21.
Abha, it's good. Let's just say it's early minutes into the market, but strength across the board. 1,600 stocks in the green, 900 in the red. But what's really interesting is that out of 19 indices, 17 are in the green. Realty, energy, auto and IT are doing really well, in particular metals. So it's a green shade, a light green shade across the market. Let's hope how this continues. AU Bank has hit a fresh record high, 2% higher, 991, something that you've already marked. There is a strong volume coming into IRB Infra. Adani Green is something that you've marked. But Balrampur Chini is an interesting stock to look at, 3% higher, 429. Sharadji should offer opinion on that. And of course, there is metals represented by Hind Zinc, MMTC, and the energy stock that you marked, JSW Energy. All good. Let's see how it goes.
All right. In fact, Hind Zinc is trending really strong today, 3.5% on the back of those silver prices. No stopping those silver prices whatsoever. Sharad, let me bring you in on Hind Zinc.
Yeah, I think I would call it fairly valued, though some upside could come in from the higher, silver prices in the short term. But if you look at the long-term movement in silver, there are occasional bursts in 10, 15 years where prices skyrocket to a different level and you have different kind of stories. Again, we are seeing it. We don't know whether this is the peak or maybe it goes up higher. But yeah, certainly short term it is positive for them. Maybe the quarterly numbers will receive a fillip. But generally, I think across commodities, the rest of the business also, the mood is going to be a bit somber next year. So maybe you would not bet so much on realizations. So silver is roughly what 15-20% of the turnover, I think. So that upside they will have from there. But other than that, I don't think the broader picture is very hunky-dory for metals over the next 1.5 years.
Okay. We mentioned IRB Infra, of course, on those toll revenue numbers. We've got a whole bunch of infra names. Dhruv Consultancy is up. They've bagged an order in Tamil Nadu NHAI project. Highway Infra has also bagged an NHAI contract. So lots of the infra counters that are in the news. We've got GPT Infra, that's up about 7%. Let's pull up GPT for you. The company's been declared the lowest bidder for a project worth 200 crore. So that's moving up about 7%. 9% now, as we can see on our screen. So lots of action in infra this morning. Microsoft is set to invest $17.5 billion in artificial intelligence and cloud computing in India. The funds will be invested over 4 years, and the announcement was made by CEO Satya Nadella after he met Prime Minister Narendra Modi last evening. Microsoft said the investment will focus on 3 areas: scale, skills, and sovereignty. In response, the Prime Minister called his meeting with Nadella productive and said the world is optimistic about India when it comes to AI. The company's facilities in Hyderabad are set to go live in the middle of 2026 and will be its largest hyperscale region in India. Nadella will be holding and addressing events in Delhi, Bangalore, and Mumbai this week. The Prime Minister also met the CEO of Intel. The company recently signed an MOU with the Tata Group to manufacture, assemble, and package Intel design products at Tata Electronics' upcoming Fab and OSAT facilities, along with collaboration on advanced semiconductor packaging in India. A third meeting was with senior leaders of Cognizant. The meeting discussed accelerating AI adoption and advancing education and skill development to enhance AI capabilities and productivities. Let's just go across to Aishwarya Patil, who's tracking some of these very high-level meets. Aishwarya, thanks for joining us. Talk us through some of the key takeaways from these discussions.
Well, as you rightly mentioned, $17.5 billion, which amounts to about 1.5 lakh crore or thereabouts of investment that Satya Nadella has announced for India. And this also marks the second investment in this year. This also is Asia's largest investment that Microsoft has done as far as their AI investment is concerned. Now, this was followed, of course, by the $3 billion that they had announced earlier, and they will be spending this about by the end of calendar year 2026. As you rightly mentioned, these investments will go towards building infrastructure. Remember, India also has its India AI mission that was announced by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav earlier last year as well, and have been building on that, making our sovereign capabilities, AI capabilities, much stronger within the Indian borders, having our cloud base in here, and also training and skilling our workforce to be AI ready or future ready. That's the mission that India also wants to build on. And this investment and series of investments made by Microsoft, of course, building on that India AI mission. So a very important announcement as far as India's AI mission is concerned, and also a corporate giant such as tech giants such as Microsoft trying to help India building its AI future within its sovereign borders. Remember, DPTP was announced recently, and so it requires and mandates a lot of these companies to make in India, build in India for India. So this kind of helps in taking that AI future ready investment infrastructure forward for us.
All right. Thank you for joining us with that, Aishwarya. And we'll leave it there, but we have a lot more coming up for you. And of course, we'll be back to track market closing as well at 3 p.m. Thanks so much for joining us.